morning, Chelsea.
Good morning, Nazar.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Okay, Nazar, Director of Regulatory Affairs here at Pagero, part of Thomson Reuters.
It's me.
It's an exciting time to be an e-invoicing fan, is it not?
It is.
Yes. All right, so ViDA, VAT in the Digital Age, has been ratified. It was officially, was it yesterday?
Yeah, entered into force.
Did you celebrate?
Without champagne, but again, I congratulated all of my team.
Yes.
This means we won't be unemployed for the rest of our lives.
All right.
Yeah.
So it feels a little to me like it's the World Cup. It's gonna unfold
I hope
over 10 years though.
It must be World Cup in cricket then, right?
Yes, exactly.
It never stops.
Precisely. Okay. Do businesses realize what's coming at large? Sweeping generalizations. Like, are businesses in Europe ready for ViDA?
They don't have a slightest clue.
Oh gosh. Why not?
So there isn't a single answer to this question, right? But I think it might have to do with a few puzzle pieces. One, probably the communication around it from the Commission and from the member states hasn't been so vocal and so outspoken. And when the communication was coming to the market, it's very tax focused, very much VAT focused, which I think is a mistake because you kind of alienate people when you start talking tax. Usually tax is not the hot topic. Exactly. So that it's about the communication. That is one piece. And the second one, when you talk to any company and you ask them like, hey guys, who owns invoice in your organization? There's typically two reactions. One, no one owns it. Two, you have 10 hands raised. And then you start explaining what owning e-invoicing means, and you see like most of those hands fade. Maybe you have two at the end and they start fighting who actually owns the e-invoice. So it's like there is not a single process in a company's life cycle where invoice is not relevant. It transcends through everything, but no one really owns it. In most of the cases, I'm gravely generalizing. There is companies who actually have this under control, but that's a minority at this point.
Yeah.
So lack of communication, and then like no one is actually looking for that communication that is available.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about reporting? Would a tax person raise their hand like, that's
definitely,
okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But then they would, now in context of ViDA, they would as well gravely misunderstand what this DRR is in invoicing, because a tax person would typically start thinking, where's the web portal where I can be typing my returns or my lists or my reports to the government, or can I ask my accountant to do it on my behalf? So they are very much stuck in that manual way of working, and where you have a month or a quarter or something to get your data in a good shape before you fire it away to the government, and that's gone. That's not the point. The point is you do your business, you do your electronic invoice, and then the DRR is provided automatically without any human intervention to the government.
Frictionless.
Some would say.
We'll see.
But that's the idea. Yes, that's the idea.
Okay. So if you were to assemble the dream cricket team inside organizations to handle ViDA readiness, which is transitioning to e-invoicing, making sure e-invoicing is rolling smoothly, that direct reporting is rolling smoothly, what combo would you come up with?
Before doing that, I think it is important to shift the responsibility. Like who is in charge of it? Like invoice is such a fundamental financial document.
Right.
If you want to get paid.
Yeah.
Or if you need to have your working capital under control and stuff like that. Like it is finance who should be in charge of this.
Right.
And then they should assemble the dream team, which includes, some project manager, tax people, IT people, and so on. But it's not the case today. In most of the cases, at least from my experience, you will have IT in charge or you will have tax in charge.
Right.
And this is where the incentive might be not totally aligned with it, again, in my opinion, where the focus of a company should be, right?
Got it.
IT people, and again, super generalizing and apologizing to anyone that I might offend now.
Don't come for us.
Yeah. No, but I mean, IT people will look for, okay, this is the technology we have. Let's find the most compatible technology to what we already have without maybe looking for the best technology.
Yeah.
And then you have the tax people who as well will have a similar flaw of falling back on what they are used to historically instead of looking forward and maybe change the habits, change the processes. Because I think the biggest challenge with e-invoicing is actually the word change.
Right.
I mean, do you like change, Chelsea?
I am a special case.
You do?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're a special case, but do you
I
like
change?
change?
60% of the time.
Yeah.
40% terrible.
Yeah.
And scary.
Yeah. But imagine like there's something you've been doing for, I don't know, 5 years. Do you have a morning habit?
No, actually. I am a very special case.
Do you have a habit, a routine for anything?
Oh my goodness. I can't brush my teeth the same way twice. It's just true. So you maybe take one of your habits. I'm the least routine person you'll ever meet.
Okay. My morning habit, because I live in Sweden, I love caviar. Okay?
Ooh, nice.
So I must have my rye bread with caviar and tomato for breakfast.
Every morning.
Every morning. I can have it every single day. And my wife doesn't understand it. It drives her mad.
Yeah.
But if you break that morning routine, I might be unhappy on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, well, we talk tax and the invoicing and morning routines. But, if you have your habit, the way of how you're used to doing things, and you need to change it completely, many people will be unhappy about it. Right. Because you need to get outside of your comfort zone. You need to get new skills. You need to learn new things. You need to maybe switch the user interface or whatever of the system. Like, imagine you are an iPhone person and then suddenly you're being told you switch to Android.
Never, Nazar, never.
You see? So this is pretty much what's happening here. You've been so accustomed to touch your paper or see your PDF. Right. And that is completely disappearing and replaced with XML invoices. So I think that is the biggest problem with electronic invoicing. It's a completely new way of doing things. And people might be basically, because we are human, negative about the change.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the most important parts of ViDA, is it not? That it's not just about compliance or a new way of reporting VAT. It is about automation, making the whole economy function in a more fluid, streamlined, collaborative, data-driven way. Do you think that piece of it, that there are so many automation benefits to be gained here, is that making it through to businesses?
I'm afraid not. And I think, so if you ask me why, I think it is because it's the ministries of finance of European states who are negotiating ViDA. Right. So it's very much fiscal and tax people negotiating it. Yeah. And there is definitely a tax component to it. You can't shut your eyes for it. I mean, like, I think around 30% of VAT gap in Europe is on the cross-border trade, on the intra-community trade.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so it's a big chunk of money to collect. So it is important piece, but like you say, there's so much more other benefits. I like to think of ViDA a little bit in the light of the latest Draghi report about improving efficiencies in the European Union, both on the internal market, but as well internationally.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if you have, less debt, or actually you can afford to take good debt to grow your business because you cut out inefficiencies. And I think, I was talking about this with someone, and I think there's as well a big kind of a misunderstanding about e-invoicing, because everyone thinks about, I'm replacing PDF or paper with an XML and that's it. And that is a big mistake. If you as a company think like that, you won't reap any benefits of going digital, because what XML enables you is to actually exchange the data instantaneously without any time lag in a safe and secure manner, not through open internet, not through a Gmail or a Yahoo or other insecure channels. And then it allows you to receive it and put it into your systems automatically. So you can automatically approve, reject those invoices. You can run analysis on your spend, on your income. Like the biggest saving and advantage of electronic invoices isn't on saved stamps or envelopes. I mean, no one is doing paper invoicing anymore, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's about the efficient use of the human capital. Or if you are a sole business, sole proprietor of your own time, like, why should I be spending, 2 hours a day or what it might be on, opening up my email, the PDF, and then view it and then type it into my system, make an error. You shouldn't be doing those things.
Right.
That should be happening instantaneously, automatically, and then you are flagged with whatever deviations or errors you have on that invoice. And here is as well where I make a big comparison frequently to the AI, like, AI will automate everything, AI will solve our problems. No, it won't. If you feed AI with you will get a outcome. And so electronic invoicing is actually enabling a quality AI outputs.
Right.
And improving actually your operations. So instead of doing this manual task for 2 hours a day, I can actually do something more meaningful and more valuable for my company.
Yeah.
Let's take a more pragmatic and simple example. Text messages.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine for the young generation, in the 70s, or 80s, you probably had like 4 or 5 phones. Because there was no exchange of data between different mobile operators.
No way.
Yeah. So you had individual phone for every mobile operator to text your family, to text your colleague, to text someone else.
That's wild. I actually wasn't aware of this. And I'm old. I'm 36.
I mean, okay, I haven't experienced that myself. I've been told so by older people.
Yeah, I didn't think you were that old either.
Yeah. So this is what's happening with the e-invoicing as well, or this is what should be happening with the e-invoicing. Instead of you having 10, 15 different systems to process OCR, emails, electronic invoices, EDIs, like, it should be interchangeable. It should be interconnected. You sit in your single phone, in your single application, and it's connected to everything.
Yeah.
And that is not the case today.
It's changing though, right? Or is it on its way?
It's on its way. Yeah.
Yeah, because Pagero's network, we were early to this. So ideally, you can choose whichever operator you want, but you expect to text your friend and your mom and your auntie and not be limited.
Yeah.
So do you think this will be the future? Like, do you see the fences coming down when it comes to connectivity? They need to, right? To like enable, what is it, 33 million businesses in the EU, and for them to seamlessly connect to send the e-invoices. We need to see this open atmosphere.
I mean, we're definitely working for this.
Yeah.
Through various interactions with government agencies, trade associations, and so on, and really talking about the need of roaming, the need of interoperating, the need to be open, because that is the only way how you can open up all those possibilities. I mean, even for us at Pagero, we talk e-invoicing, but that's not the value, that's not the benefit we are delivering to the clients. It's kind of this necessary evil that you need to overcome in order to actually deliver the full value, the full benefit. So at least, we do whatever we can to make it possible. It took mobile industry actually 15, 20, 25 years or something like that to start to get there. And so it might be the case with electronic invoicing. And I mean, and as well, what I would like to mention in this context, it's not like we need one single standard globally. That is impossible. But we cannot have 15,000 standards and approaches, right? We need to harmonize it a little bit. We need to get rid of something, and we need to keep on evolving. And again, if we look on the mobile operator industry, imagine, and I haven't looked at on the package of my mobile phone recently, but I remember in the 90s, it was always telling you this phone, which kind of standards the phones are supporting.
No way.
Yeah. And it's sort of, that's what you probably as a business should do when you are, embarking on an e-invoicing. You would want to have a technology that is supporting as many standards as possible, and as cost efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
So, if it took the mobile industry this many years, it might take some time for the e-invoicing.
Are governments prepared for ViDA? The ones that will need to enforce this.
Will this recording be public?
Yes, it will. Be nice.
Okay.
Be nice.
Okay. No, I think yes and no. I think it very much depends on which leg of the governments you talk to. If even within the, let's say, the Ministry of Finance, it's not like, it's one girl or guy running the whole show. There's a lot of people in every MinFin, and you will have always more technical people or more fiscal people in each of them. And I would say this is where you have the biggest discrepancy. So not so much between countries, but actually within a country, where you will have more technical people who definitely have done the homework on the technology side. They have opinions. And then you will have the fiscal people who have opinion on the fiscal side, but know nothing about the technology side. So I think where the biggest gap today is actually people within the same government agency or within related government agencies don't talk to each other. Because this is what you need to make this work, right? It's not only technology game. This is not only a fiscal game. It's so similar to the business. You asked me, what's the dream team? Finance, tax, IT, business, project manager, all work together. And the approach should be exactly the same on the government side. This cannot be technology driven only. This cannot be fiscally driven only.
Yeah, that makes sense. Who are the champions of ViDA in Europe? Like, who is leaning into ViDA the most, and in your opinion is taking the most thoughtful approach to e-invoicing and reporting?
I think taking the most thoughtful approach depends on what you mean when you say thoughtful. because I'm not so sure that taking the most prescriptive and detailed approach to e-invoicing is the right way forward. If I can single out one country, Belgium is my role model.
Really?
Yes. For many different reasons. One, they say, let's just do e-invoicing. Let's not over-engineer. Let's not overcomplicate. If there will be cases popping up post the introduction, we will solve it. We will not be punishing businesses. Let's just get it done, because it's impossible to predict everything. And we, as a government, we are not in charge of, how businesses do business. So let them do electronic invoicing. Let them make mistakes. Let us solve it on the fly. And then a couple of years later, we add the DRR component on a fully tested, in real circumstances, e-invoicing framework, without mapping out 52 different scenarios. In this case, you do your e-invoicing like that, and here like that. So I really, really like this approach of, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Not overcomplicate, not overpenalize, because they really see the big picture. They really see the benefits by going digital for companies in Belgium and eventually for the whole country.
Got it. And who is sleeping on ViDA? Which country is just not prepared? You think it's going to be last in the race?
I will pass on
You'll
that question.
Pass?
Yes.
We can pass. Okay, that's fair. So last night, I'm a word nerd, as you know.
I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't?
No, I didn't.
So I love etymology. And so I was looking up e-invoice as a word.
Etymology. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going Greek now.
We're going Greek.
Yeah.
So in Europe, you actually have quite a repeating standard for e-invoice. It's some variation of, like in French, it's facture électronique. In Italy, it's fattura elettronica. And so you'll have variations of that. So in English, it's e-invoice, which comes from envoi, which is like to send, like envoy. And then factura, that comes from the Latin, which is like a making, a manufacture. So you have this like factura electronica everywhere. In Germany, I noticed a difference. It's elektronisch Rechnung. And Rechnung means reckoning. So I'm wondering, is Germany having a reckoning? Or will they have a reckoning about their e-invoicing strategy? Because I know they're trying out a hybrid format. So what exactly does hybrid mean? And do you think they're going to have a good time or a bad time with this experiment?
So I will go on record and I will say that outside of Germany and France, everyone hates hybrid invoice.
Yeah.
There's no one in the Nordics, no one in South, and no one in East who is doing e-invoicing today who wants to recognize that hybrid has room for existence. There's many reasons, right? Many arguments. But if I
can you just clarify quickly?
Like, what is a hybrid invoice?
What is it?
So it's a very funky concept where you have your PDF file.
Yeah.
And then inside of it, you embed.
Inside of the PDF?
Inside of a PDF.
This is madness.
Inside of a PDF, you embed structured XML invoice.
Oh my God, this is making me very nervous.
Did you even know you can have something embedded in a PDF like that?
I had no idea. I struggle with opening PDFs as it is.
Yeah. And how do you think businesses outside of, Germany feel like, oh, I got this PDF. I don't want to have a PDF.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this makes me concerned. I thought they were just alongside one another. No. Like, here's your PDF file, here is your...
No. So you get imagine, so you are a buyer, you get an email coming, because that's what they do in Germany today. So you get an email, you have a PDF inside of it, you click on it, and then you manually, type that PDF into your ERP system. And then, it turns out there was an XML embedded. And imagine if there was an error between the XML and the PDF.
Right. Which
There's
there
a
totally will be.
There's a data mismatch, and it used the PDF. But it's the XML, which is the legal file.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh goodness.
So your seller has put you into a bad fiscal position.
Right. Why? Why? Why?
I've been asking myself the same question for a long time. And it's not like there's one hybrid. There's many hybrids. So in France they call it Factor X.
Okay.
And in Germany they call it Zugpferd.
Right.
So you have two.
Okay.
One in France and one in Germany. But then in Germany, the Zugpferd, it has 5 profiles.
Oh no.
5 different versions. And for your specific business, maybe only one of those profiles works and the other 4 don't. So you actually need to agree on which of the hybrids you're using. And, ViDA is talking a lot about the European norm, European standard of electronic invoicing. But there's actually only 2 of those 5 Zugpferd profiles which are EN compliant.
What is the point of the other 3?
I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This sounds incredibly rough. So do you think a reckoning is coming for the Rechnung?
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
But I think we, we've been making a lot of fun about the Germans right now. But we shouldn't underestimate the complexity because, Germany is a federal state. We need to recognize that. So we have 16 tax agencies for every Bundesland.
Yeah.
And then you have the Federal Ministry of Finance, and then you have the sub-central levels. It's actually quite complex in Germany for them to agree on something. So I wish them luck, and all of us, that they actually can come to some kind of good conclusion. But I think, the hybrid isn't the problem in this context.
What is the problem?
The problem is the email.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Isn't
because
that fraudster's paradise?
We can get to the fraudster's paradise, but if you look on the history of the hybrid, why it was created to enable e-invoicing over email. Right. Because you you use that PDF as a package, as a container for your XML invoice. Well, set aside the fact that you might actually not know that there's an XML embedded inside of the PDF. But the idea is that it enables you to send an XML invoice over email without it ending up in your spam.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So, the more countries start sort of phasing out email, the need for hybrid invoices disappears because there is not a software solution that isn't capable of displaying an XML in a web portal. It's possible. And there's actually free solutions in Germany. So there's COSIT, which is a standardization body in Germany. They have created free of charge tool that visualizes an XML in a human readable version. So you don't actually need that PDF.
Yeah.
So the more countries start going away from email, the need of hybrid invoices disappears. But then, like you pointed out, how can you consider email secure? You can't. It goes through open internet.
Yeah. No.
Anyone can basically hijack it, read it. Imagine if you have misspelled your recipient's name. I have 2 Y's at the end of my surname. Who on earth would think, hey, he has 2 exact same characters in his name?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you would normally spell it with one Y and just fire it away, and then it goes to someone else.
Oh, goodness.
Or never reaches me.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that are wrong with email.
Yeah.
But I'm happy we have at least at this point settled that electronic invoicing is not when you put it on a USB stick, put it in the envelope, and send it with courier. We have passed that stage.
Good.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. So back to my etymology. Like, okay, pop quiz.
Oh.
What is e-invoice in Finnish?
Pass.
Pass.
Can you?
Of course, it's nothing like elektronik faktura. Nothing like
that.
Sakoinen lasku.
Okay.
I mean,
is that one word, two word?
I enjoy Finnish so much because it's often so direct. Like the word for earth, mapalo, it means ground ball. I just love that. I think
it makes it more complete because it's not just earth, it's round earth.
Yes.
Not flat earth.
Exactly. I think Finland is an interesting case when it comes to e-invoicing. I read that the saturation of e-invoicing in their market is 92%. That's got to be the highest in Europe, right?
Well, without an explicit government-imposed mandate, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they don't even have to impose a mandate.
No.
Yeah.
No. The only thing they need to do is a DRR if they want to.
Oh, yeah.
On top of it. Yeah. But they don't have to. But it's not like there's no legal framework in Finland. There is actually a hook why I think the adoption levels are so high in Finland. And that is because in the national regulations of Finland, the buyer has the right to demand an electronic invoice and the supplier cannot refuse.
Oh, okay. Is this something you would recommend to ease the start of e-invoicing? Or are we past that point now?
I think for Europe, we are past that point.
Yeah.
But Finland, Estonia is doing it this year.
Okay. Cool.
So maybe if you want to do it in summer 25, you can actually, leverage the Finnish approach.
Yeah.
But there's a few countries outside of EU who are considering the Finnish approach with buyer e-invoicing rights.
Very cool. In your opinion, is ViDA coming too early, too late, or just in time?
Just in time.
Yeah. So businesses are mature enough, digitalization has reached a certain point, and now like the need is emerging. Like how do you see this matrix?
I think I would flip that answer and approach it more from the government side.
Yeah.
Because like the amount of countries who have been considering and implementing e-invoicing has been so large. And again, even from European perspective, right? We have this mix of real-time reporting and invoicing frameworks in Spain, in Greece, in Italy, in Hungary, Romania, now coming in Poland and France. It has already created significant disruption to the single market of the European Union. And I think the Commission sort of came to the point we cannot allow the single market to get distorted even more by even more country-specific, even more exotic approaches to real-time controls. Right. So from that context, I believe it's about time to do something about it. It is definitely not too early. I mean, there's, again, the initial VAT directive when it was negotiated in 90s or whatever, this is where they've put the limitation on mandating electronic invoicing because, technology wasn't mature enough and so on. But now we are past that stage. And it's definitely not too late. I mean, I just mentioned a few countries who have introduced real-time reporting or electronic invoicing, but that's a smaller fraction of member states. And I think other countries have learned something out of it as well by, comparing, analyzing the current implementations, what went good, what went bad. You can actually create something more balanced for everyone. So I think it was a necessary exercise to let a few mandates slip, so to say, to learn a little bit out of it, because you don't want to learn only out of the Latin American experience.
Yeah.
Right? You need to make your own bruises before you actually learn the lesson. And I think this is where, as I now mentioned Latin America, I think this is the big concept difference or mental difference almost between how mandates in Latin America are implemented and how ViDA wants to implement it. Because ViDA is clearly separating between electronic invoicing and DRR. The e-invoicing is the commercial business process between the supplier and the buyer, and there should be limited interference from the government. Yes, invoice happens to carry some fiscal data, but it's not a fiscal document. It's not a report.
Right.
So you do your commercial invoicing, and then you fire away the DRR. Hey, here's a copy of pieces of my data to the government. In Latin America, the mental difference is completely different. Invoice is a fiscal document. Full stop. I, as a tax administration, I'm in charge of it. Right. I define the structures, the contents, the technical specifications, the formats, everything, and businesses have absolutely nothing to say about it.
What about the rest of the supply chain? So there are a lot of documents that will have legal significance. How is that going to look in Europe under ViDA?
We will see, and we already see, evolution of let's call it real-time controls, getting into other supply chain components. We see countries introducing requirements on electronic transport documents.
Right.
We see countries asking for invoice statuses. So a message, is the invoice approved? Is the invoice rejected? Is it maybe partially approved? Is it paid? Has payment been received? In the public procurement, we even see countries requesting orders electronically, and some countries even looking into price catalogs electronically. And there's as well initiative to approach ESG from transactional perspective. So instead of these very sophisticatedly calculated reports that are submitted on periodic basis on ESG, tax administrations start looking into, but how can we get ESG data in real time on transaction basis? What car was used? What's the emission levels? How much garbage was on it? And so on and so forth. So we will see things moving into that direction. Invoice is just the beginning of it. And ViDA is very clear on this point. There is a paragraph in ViDA which states nothing in this directive prohibits countries from regulating other transaction documents. So things are coming. Even from the Commission, from the EU level, there is this EFTI regulation, which is meant to digitize freight documents.
And our government's going to make use of all this data. So it's one thing to collect it. I think everyone, especially in business, like, oh, let's collect all the data and then we can analyze it. I'm interested in both from business perspective, all the data that invoicing makes possible, and from the government perspective, being able to monitor supply chains throughout your own country and also cross-border transactions.
That is the biggest question. That is the biggest challenge. Like, I mean, the big brother fears. And I mean, I will not say they are not grounded or grounded. There's as well different approaches between different countries. I mean, some say, well, we want to have as much data as possible. Without sometimes being able to explain why do they need specific data element. And there is those who say, you know what, we need these minimum data points.
Right.
We don't want anything else. So I think this is, at least right now in those meetings where I'm participating, this is one of the most challenging discussion points, even for the government officials among themselves. Like, where do we draw a line? What can we, what can't we do with the data? But there is no silver bullet answer to this one. And moreover, I think we will see an evolution in this sense as well. Like, if we look on any e-invoicing implementation today, it never is static. There's always changes to technical specifications as governments mature and learn more out of the data they are collecting. I think this will be inevitable with ViDA as well. Like, this is the starting point, but this is not the end point of the evolution. Even a few pilots where we have participated, yes, we had the tax administrations as participants, but we had as well statistical bureaus participating, and we had digital agencies participating, and we know by fact, for instance, if we look on the landscape of Italy, who is one of those countries with electronic ordering mandate on procurement side, they actually are matching order data, electronic order data with electronic invoice data to have a better spend management on healthcare side, which is probably the biggest spend component of the Italian budget today. So, I would want to say that at the end of the day, the real-time data sharing ecosystem isn't only about tax. There is much wider use cases. I mean, and I'm a believer, like, the tax will just come. The situation will improve once you go digital, because I think in this context, and that is one of the things many fiscal and finance people say, like 90%, sorry, let me rephrase it. The vast majority of businesses are honest businesses. And a big chunk of that VAT gap we talk about, it isn't necessarily fraud, it's just honest mistakes.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was supposed to do it like this. I didn't know I was supposed to send it there or at this point in time.
Right.
So what will come with ViDA, which isn't written in the law text, is that the market, and to some extent governments, they will make it easier for businesses to comply with these regulations. I've participated in a few fiscal workshops, and I'm not a VAT person, and I thought, oh my God, this is so complicated. How can, a simple business or even a complicated business keep track of these requirements and interpret them in the right way? Because, like, it felt like it was never black and white. It was a gray zone every time. So if you can build those rules and that logic into the software you are using, like, your transaction will be compliant on the spot, and you will decrease your cost. You will not have to pay thousands or millions for advisory services. I mean, there's such a potential to actually, save cost by going more digital and solving this. So I think market will come and will help, software providers will help businesses to implement and build these rules on the spot on the software layer, because that component is missing right now. Yeah. And it's very much manual work.
Yeah. So ViDA is total net positive. So, I mean, it'll be a challenge, because there's always challenge involved in change and transformation.
Every change is a pain.
Yes.
But there's good pain.
Yes.
And bad pain.
Yes.
I think ViDA is a good pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you recommend for people looking for more information about ViDA? So here at Pagero, we have an incredible regulatory affairs team. How are we looking at ViDA in terms of collecting information and publishing information?
Go to our landing page. I mean, that's it. There isn't, I don't think you need more at this point in time.
Yeah.
We have, more light text in form of blogs. We have a bit more detailed analytical texts in our white paper. We are continuously publishing various short updates on what's happening in different countries. So just visit our landing page and you should be able to find pretty much everything you need. If you can't, you can always reach out to us, ask your question. And, we've been doing webinars on ViDA, and we will keep on doing more webinars to, keep everyone updated because, hey, I mean, it's 27 times 2.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. All right. That's in there. Thank you so much, Nazar.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. It was a good talk.
Yeah, seriously. Viva la vida.
Pura vida.
Pura vida.
Yes.